Hello viewer, when I'm not tearing lumps off the house I can often be found at a vide-grenier, and the sign for this is usually a blocked road. Sometimes it might be a tractor, could be a barrier. Beyond that you'll find friendly French folk ranged by the side of the road with their tables set out, often with children's clothes, toys, things that are no longer required, often ridiculously cheap. Sometimes you'll find something in amongst there which appeals to you. There could be an old antique type thing, or there could be tools. Sometimes there'll be people from further away with a van. Maybe they've renovated stuff semi-professionally and brought it along to sell. Anyway, at this particular one, I picked up one of those long aluminium hollow pole things that you use for tamping down wet concrete. 3 meters long, €10. Crazy, couldn't pass it up. After the vide-grenier, I went home for some lunch. Then in the afternoon, I thought, time for some work. So we thought we'd take you on the journey with us from our current house over to the one that we're working on. Here's the trip. I know it's a bit of a grey day here, but there's a clump of trees coming up which is at a high point in the road, so I stopped the car on a slightly better day and took a 360 view of the surrounding area so that you can appreciate just how green and unspoiled this area is. Enjoy. Hello viewer.
We wanted to have a word about this, the monstrosity.
We just aren't sure what to do with it.
I think it seems to be structural, so if we do anything radical with it, we might be causing ourselves some major problems. So it looks like we've got to live with it somehow. So there are a few options. I think the first option, which isn't really an option, is to clean it out, to use some paint stripper or something just to get rid of all this red paint that's on top of the brick. Is that all right? Is that something we can do?
Yep. Basically, that hood at the top that you can see, the extra size, that is supporting the hood above that's in the bedroom, the sort of pyramid, half a pyramid thing, and the channel for the chimney goes up into the inside of that, inside the hood, and then is directed between the two skins of the stone wall and up to the chimney. So the hood is a part of the chimney.
But we can take these horrible bits of wood off. What was that? What do you think that was
That's
for?
a gun rack or possibly a bow rack.
Oh, okay. Well, we definitely want to take this shelf off and these bits of wood off. And this little bit of wood here. And is that stone?
That's stone. That's a stone corbel either side.
What's this made of? Is that wood with some plaster on it?
That's got show or lime plaster on top with a solid wood piece at the base here.
So we could clean off the show, leave the wooden structure. That might even be quite nice. What's that big hole for at the side?
There used to be a stove, presumably over there, which the chimney for the stove went up and then into the main chimney.
Okay. Well, so we could put a stove there if we wanted.
We could.
But I suggest we cover it up. We buy some really nice oak or some old panels of oak, and we build this wooden bit structure out a bit and take it further down. So you see this is less dominant, and we create a sort of panelled box that comes out a little bit further, maybe even covers the sides. Doesn't come out any further than either here or where the hearth is. And we basically hide it.
Okay. Well, we can do that.
It's just not pretty, is it? And it's not cottagey. And it isn't, it's just dark and quite sad looking. But it's functional.
But the cavity that you can see there, that is what they call an insert fire. So the fire, the wood burning stove goes into that insert with air around it, and the air heats up as the stove heats up, and you have electric fans in the back which circulate the air. So you might have a gap at the bottom which brings cool air in. That goes around the stove, gets heated up, and then there's a fan at the top which pushes air out of a grill at the top of the fan of the stove, and that's what heats up the room. So you're constantly circulating cold air, heating it, pushing it out to the room.
And this is going to be quite a big room, I suspect. How many metres do you think it is?
It's almost 50 square metres.
Yeah, which is like the living room we have at home, I guess.
Yeah. Well, a bit bigger. That's about 30.
And that's got a what, 8 kilowatt? 9 kilowatt wood burner. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we probably will keep our eye out for some old wood.
Yeah.
And with a view to building this out and hiding some of it, but not interfering with the structure.
On to the next job. Right.
Well, we've been trying to mow, but we just wanted to mow the front down so that we didn't get loads of foliage over the front of the house, having hacked it down a few weeks ago. But we've got to find a better solution to just little domestic mowers and strimmers.
Yeah, the problem is that since I last came over, you've probably got about 2 feet of grass has grown. So this is all the strimmer having cut it to one length, and then the mower, hello little mower, trying to cut the rest of it. But it's a little bit moist, the grass, and so the mower is just basically shorting out or overheating and switching off.
Let's have a look over the gate so you can see the problem.
Okay, so we have this side meadow by the side of the Colombage barn. So this is, you've got a metre high fence there, and the grass is 2/3 of the way up there. So you can see the barn on the right, you've got a chain link fence on the left there, which is probably also about 1 metre tall, and in the middle of it all, quite a lot of 60 centimetre, 2 foot tall grass. The strimmer only cuts it down to a certain height, and then the mower, not so sure.
I think the mower's been quite good. But it definitely needs a big brother that looks a bit more like a tractor.
Yeah. So I think we're going to go into town, probably grab some lunch, and then see what we can find that's a solution. Excuse the gunshots, that's the farmer next door. Before we left, Jo decided she wanted to see if she could make a dent in the pile of straw that was in the barn, so she filled up a bag. Then we went into town and rented a tractor. Here's what happened next. Well, that's the Kubota that we've rented, and it's got a flail on the back. And you've seen us mooching around the garden, making a mess of things. Let's just go up and have a look and see how much destruction we've managed to achieve. So, because it goes down close to ground level, and in some cases has actually chewed up the ground, you can get to see a pretty good impression of the undulations of the garden. So over here on the left, you can see it dips, and then it's got a higher bit over towards the Colombage barn with the tin roof. In the centre, you've got two clumps of vegetation, which is where there's either a tree stump on the right there or some stones on the left. And then in the distance, you can see what we call the writer's shed. And then there's a dead tree next to it. And there's a rather glorious cherry tree, which has got quite a lot of cherries on it. Then we've got the bread oven. And the pig pen is here with the window. And it's a nice little gap area in the corner there. Excuse all the bangs, that's a bird scarer. They've just planted their crops in the fields. So there's very, very young shoots in the fields, and the birds would like to eat that. So anyway, back to the garden. There's the writing shed. We've got another pile of vegetation there, which I couldn't get through because that's where the apple tree was that fell over. So I obviously cut down some of it, but that's all the branches which are left over. And we've got clumps of churned up soil and grass. Obviously I couldn't get too close to any of the buildings because it's a tractor. So I'll have to come back with the strimmer and get closer to the ground. Bang. Possibly use some weed killer or something to kill the plants which are closest to the walls. And in the field over there, we have cows. So this side of the Columbage barn is unknown at the moment. We're thinking possibly wildflower meadow, possibly parking area, possibly a second septic tank and soakaway field if the Columbage barn here is turned into a dwelling at some stage. Who knows? It's all up in the air. So, the garden. Now, all of that grass, bang, all of that grass that you could see there was pretty much a month's worth of growth. So 60 centimetres, 2 feet in a month. Ouch. So that means that I'm going to have to get over here fairly regularly to be chopping back the brush and the grass and stop it getting out of hand. Unless we hire a local gardener to come in and just run a mower over it occasionally and keep it in check. But there we go. Before going home, I walked around the garden to make sure I hadn't left any tools out, and I came across this little character. He did say to me, though, before I left him, that he wanted you to subscribe to this channel and also to click the thumbs up button. Heavens knows why. I never knew that moles could be so concerned about the relative success of YouTube channels, but there we go. I know diddly squat about farming. In fact, I know even less than Jeremy Clarkson. But there we go. Cute little guy here. I'll just poke him on his way. I was considering digging a tunnel for him just to get him started, but I suspect he wants to make his own holes.